So welcome everybody to the J.E.D.I Aquatics series. And today, really special one. Once again, I say that a lot, but this one's good. We've got Ramzi Hussaini, who is from Life Saving Victoria and is in charge of the Diversity and Inclusion arm.
Inclusion.
Yes.
Yep.
So Diversity Inclusion arm of Life Saving Victoria and that department. And I'm going to hand it over to Ramzi to start the discussion, do a little introduction, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. So over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Kurt. Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, glad to be here and sort of talking through what we do and how we do things and who am I as a person, both in professional and personal life. So my full name is Liaquat Ali Hussaini, but my life-saving name, nickname is Ramzi. So everyone knows me with Ramzi. I've been in Australia for the last 12 years and spent approximately 8 to 9 years within surf lifesaving, which really gave me perspective on life and helped the settlement in Australia. And basically gave me a bit of a sense of belonging and do the things I love, do the things that I could not back home. Originally, I am from Afghanistan, where there's a very lack of water bodies. So yeah, I took this opportunity with two hands. I've been living within Life Saving Victoria's Diversity and Inclusion Department, which was historically known as a multicultural department, for the last 8 years. I started as a casual to a full-time role as a coordinator now. The unique thing about this pathway for me working at Life Saving Victoria is I started as a participant years and years ago, just like the ones that you see in the photo, the kids running as a participant, and you have a lifesaver, an instructor, we call, running through the programs and making the day much more fun for them. So yeah, been involved in the life-saving since, and yeah, absolutely love it. And every day it's a reward. Every day is new. The beauty of this workplace and the role that I have is opportunity to meet different people from different backgrounds and different cultures, different countries, similar to this conversation with Kurt. So yeah, it is an absolute blessing and an absolute beautiful pathway to get yourself immersed into aquatics.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with you. But just to give a little background on why I wanted to connect with Life Saving Victoria. The report that was published 2022, I believe, of the social return on investment for the program. Because one of the biggest things I hear from organizations is not so much the will of wanting to do things like this as how hard it is or where do you start or what it takes. And it's so difficult to see how to get from point A to point B. And what I saw through that report is a program that's done the work, really done the work to actually get from point A to point B and is showing the results that we all talk about. Diversity and inclusion is beneficial, but this is almost like a case study of wider benefit of diversity and inclusion. So first off, could you give me a little bit about what Surf Life or Life Saving Victoria, is, because it's different than Surf Life Saving, I think. What Life Saving Victoria is specifically, and maybe a little bit of how the spark happened for this program.
So we are the only state in Australia who are very fortunate enough to have a taste of 2 water safety bodies. So Life Saving Victoria is the peak water safety body responsible for water safety in Victoria. in all the other parts of Australia, there's two water safety bodies. One is Royal Life Saving, who are mainly responsible for inland waterways. And there's another body called Surf Life Saving Australia, which is basically responsible for the surf and coastal side of it as well. But in Victoria, it is, like I said, we are fortunate enough to bring both of the bodies together and form a combined body, which is now called as Life Saving Victoria. So we're a combination of both. We are in the same building, coordinating back in 2007. So in Victoria, the combination of both water safety bodies, which is the Royal Life Saving and the Surf Life Saving, we are a combination of both. And which is the most fascinating thing about us is that we are in the same building, we share the same values, we do the same job. We just work together in the same building and making things work for the communities in Victoria. The importance of the organisation and the Department for Multicultural and the Diversity Inclusion, the idea came into existence back in 2007. So the 2007 year was when the department came in together and formed the Diversity Inclusion Department, which is formerly, it was known as Multicultural Department. So because in Victoria, the statistics of people the born overseas, whether one or both parents born overseas, is quite massive. It's approximately 50% of population, either one or both parents born overseas, and approximately 25 to 30% of people in Victoria speaks another language other than English at home. So which really puts a perspective on of water safety, the importance to sort of convey the water safety messages to the people from multicultural background, because there was a lack of education, there was a lack of knowledge within those communities. The needs were observed, and that's how the department itself came into existence, because of the needs of the Victorians, because of Victoria is one of the most populated, multicultural populated state in Victoria, in Australia. So there was a need, and the department was created. And since then, starting from the scratch to this day, we've reached out to thousands and thousands and thousands of Victorians, and making sure that they are well educated, they know the water safety messages, they know the safety, they know, most importantly, they know the fun in and around the water.
So I'm loving that, because there's that dual thing of not only safety, but part of integrating into community and being part of community.
Absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned at the start, that the social return and investment, it is not only a research done to do a water safety research. It's done to find out all the other values, all the other things that is initiated with this water safety sport / safety. It's the socialization. It's bringing connecting people to other people. It's giving them the purpose. It's providing opportunities. It's making sure people basically have fun and stay safe at the same time.
Cool. And one thing I will mention, because it's quite an interesting point when you're looking at the need for something like this, is often reflected by the existing demographic and stats, as in the stats today. I do get a little bit of the feeling that there's a little bit of foresight to this one, where in 2007, there must have been a little bit of will to say we need to change for the future, as opposed to we need to change for the now. Because I think the 50% mark in Australia just tipped last year, was it?
Yeah.
that 50% of people are either born overseas or born to people from overseas. So do you have any insight into how, I shouldn't say how difficult it is, but the challenges to create something that is needed for the future rather than people seeing it for the present?
Yeah, it's always the from my perspective, it is always the preparation that we do for the upcoming events and years. My understanding and my thoughts are, which it's better to keep this moving. It's better to prepare things just because when it comes in, you are well prepared. So I guess underestimating what we could be doing, what we could have in future, and under preparation could lead us to an unpleasant situation, which is why yeah, there needs to be something, and a strategy or a pathway for people, even for people in minorities. They making sure that the sense of not being left out is something to sort of prepare for, and create things, exciting things, which really give them a sense of sort of belonging, a sense of being included. Yeah, I think that's preparation is always a key, sort of making sure prepare and strategize for and get ready for future. Obviously, in the coming years, we don't know what's coming, and it's only going to get more and more multicultural, I guess, or more. We're only going to get much more diverse.
And because one of the really interesting parts of what I've seen from the program so far is that span of initial contact information, getting the basics out there, all the way up to professional training and training those role models. So can you speak a little bit about that, the importance of that in the program itself?
Yeah, I think there's two things that I really want to point out. First, that Life-Saving Victoria's Multicultural Diversity Inclusion Department is a role model amongst many emergency services, amongst many other organizations, because we've done things so well over the years, because we've made things easier. So now people outside the organization reaches out for advice, or with a request to sort of provide them some sort of resources. As a role model, I think it's very important, because creating those role models, seeing thousands and thousands of people a year, and out of those thousands of people, you find 2 or even 3 role models, that is equivalent to 200 people, because those people will then go out and basically spread the love that you want them to share with others. People look up to them from their specific communities. People would basically follow the path, because they found someone. People like me from Afghanistan, seeing someone else in life-saving, it gives us a sense of pride. Seeing someone in a uniform in Australia and New Zealand, it gives us the sense of pride that, hey, here's a role model. We look up to those people. People look up to each other to see if they've done it, what other ways I could be involved in. So yeah, importance of those role models played a big role, and is still playing a big role within sort of our department, because yeah, it is crucial. It is absolutely the backbone of what we do, because it's not only providing the training to them, it's also providing the opportunity for employment pathways. They can make a living out of it. They could find employment out of it. Be hired at the local pool, or volunteering at a surf lifesaving club, be on the boat, be on the buggy, be on the jet skis. It all just seems to give them the sense of pride. The colorful colors of the uniform, it is always uplifting. It gives us the sense of pride and inspire others to be involved and to do great things we do. And that is helping the community.
Awesome. I have a feeling that we could sit here and unpack all of this over hours, most likely. That is not the purpose of this initial one, obviously, but I have two questions I want to kind of center in to make sure we get them in, and then we can cover anything else that you feel you actually want to put in there as well. The first one, and this is something that is fairly close to me, being what I call a second gen. So that is a person who is born in the country to parents who are born overseas. And so you've got that first generation immigrant coming in, and then you've got the second gen who have that identity split going on. And for myself, that is St. Vincent and Grenadines and Canada, among other things, but I won't get into that. So, and there's often a lack of representation of that assumption that that person, well, obviously they're from here, so they'll act like everybody else. Can you, because you've obviously been crossing a lot of paths with a lot of people through your program, what does something like this mean to those second geners?
I think because I'm the first generation in Australia, so I think I can best answer the first generation, and there are a very small number of people from the second gen that we see, but from the first generation perspective, I guess people coming to a certain country always look for sense of belonging, for a place to belong, and that comes from the community things that we do. It could be a surf lifesaving, it could be a pool lifeguard, it could be a firefighting volunteer position, or always ways to sort of look into, to merge into a community and getting to know more people, getting to know people like her, getting to know people like Dave Holland, who could just give them a little bit of a knowledge, a little bit of a bump to, hey, this is something you can do, providing those initial opportunities for them. Because if they don't do that, then they get people like me who don't have anyone here in a certain country, might get disadvantaged and miss out on those opportunities. So I think from the first generation sort of perspective, it is sort of important to reach out, to tap them on the shoulder, because often either they don't know where to go first, how to go, or how to approach them, how to talk. Language could be a barrier, but it is sometimes, but I don't think it should make it impossible for people to find the things they love. If it was not for surf lifesaving, yes, I did have a language difficulty at the very start. If I hadn't done surf lifesaving, I wouldn't have had opportunities to help the community as I am doing right now. I would have missed out and do the things that would have been miserable, which I did try different things, and I just didn't sort of like it until I find a pathway that I certainly enjoy and that gives me a reward at the end of the day, where you get to meet people one day could not get in the water, struggles in a knee-deep water, and by the end of the year, they are swimming laps, they are training surf lifesaving, they are becoming lifesaver, they are becoming lifeguard, getting employed at the pool, and making the earning out of what they do. And you just look at them, you're like, wow, it's just fascinating. And this is why what the people needs to be sort of given opportunities to make sure they bring out their I think their ethics, their the qualities that they have. So this is another reason why people like Ramzi now, people like David, people like Kurt needs to just, hey, this is opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, because sometimes they don't know how to.
And that is getting to my point as well. I think the thing I was trying to indicate was the multi-generational aspect of what you're doing. That it's often seen as this is, new immigrants need this. There is a generational aspect going down the chain of those born to those people, how they are going to see their role and space. Very quickly, what I was saying is I was kind of joining that narrative of the multi-generational aspect of what you do and the power of it is that not only the first generation needs that window, but the second generation needs to see that that window is open.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
And it goes down the chain. So for somebody like, and I'm completely the opposite because I come from a background where my my father predominantly was very aquatic. It wasn't, and my family and in the islands, we're just in the water all the time. So my perception is actually completely counter, where in Canada, it's assumed that I'm not at the time when I was growing up. But in actual fact, I am. So it can go both ways. But then going back to the point of tapping the shoulder, as you say, of that first generation has a domino effect generations later in how people perceive their role in society.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think
Yes.
the second generation, it's human nature. We always look up to each other. We follow pathways. We make people a hero. For example, for some people, their dad is their hero. We make role models. If a father, if a grandfather has done a surf life saving, or some sort of career pathways, usually it's human nature that people sort of follow the pathway. They gain interest. The curiosity leads them to some sort of pathway that actually relates to the first generation. So there is always that opportunity, that pathway that they sort of look familiar to them, because people before them have done it. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, sometimes they just don't know how to do and where to do it. So we just need to reach out, and most importantly, making the process easier. The less complication, the better it is, because people these days, they look for easy way. Us too, we are now making things easier to be interviewed or to be talking, to communicate. Yeah, making things easier.
Yep. So we are having a few technical difficulties, but we're going to push through it. And which is okay, because that's the reality of, that's what the water teaches us, right? You can never predict what's going to happen.
The norm.
It's become the norm now. No, fair enough. I'm gonna give you one final thing from me, and then I'll open it up to you as well. You've covered this a bit, and you've kept going back to this a little bit, but in a short form, what does this program mean to you specifically?
From personal perspective, this program that we are currently, correct me if I'm wrong, you are asking about the current program.
Yes.
For me, the program that we are doing currently, it is, I think for me, it's a life difference, personally, from the personal perspective. Because if it wasn't for the life saving that I did years ago, it wouldn't have been the pathway. It wouldn't have been the reason, becoming the reason to educate thousands and thousands of participants, Victorians, to stay safe, to deliver that water safety messages for them to stay safe. So basically saving lives every day, either practically at the beach or theoretically, or and in terms of presentation, the water safety talks at the classroom. For me, it gives me, the programs give me the sense of pride because I'm wearing the badge. And it just gives me the sense of pride that end of the day, I am saving lives and I'm the person responsible to make sure that we reach out to as many people as we can. For me, it is the rewarding side of it, where you see participants not willing to go in a knee-deep water to a day where they work with you together at the beach, whether at surf lifesaving, on the boat, on a paddleboard, or swimming, or educating others. So this is the pathway that, and also the pathway side of it as well, because they, end of the day, you build that relationship of trust. They trust you. They have faith in you that that you will sort of train them, that you will sort of provide that opportunity for them where they never had before, and finding and help them find that employment where they can settle. So also from the settlement perspective, that gives me the reward, that gives me the satisfaction, and that inspires me more to do more within the community. So from that sort of making things easier, because I, with my team, drive this program, we always look for room for improvement. We always look for look for the ways to make it more fun, to make it more engaging, to make it more simple, to make it more accessible, making sure that everyone sort of gets this opportunity, making it fun by making it less theory but more practical, making bring humor, add small little things to it, so it is much more effective for someone even who's been in the country for 2 days or 2 years. Often we think language should not be a problem for us to deliver our key water safety messages to them. Design our program in a way where it is so simple to understand. I always tell my staff, sometimes you have to present in a way, and this is actually what one of my mentor did when I did a program with her years and years ago. She actually works at LSV Victoria as well, so I bump into her all the time. She's one of the amazing trainer, Sheila. She inspired me, the way she presents, the way she talks. And today, when even she talks, she's so precise, she's very slow, doesn't matter who she speaks to. She speaks to a CEO or she speaks to someone who's been in the country for 2 years. Her presentation, her talk is so simple that everyone understands. And this is what I tell all my trainees, mentors that I train. I always tell them, you have to act, you have to present in a way that to yourself, you'll be like, what am I doing? You look so silly to yourself. It makes completely sense to the person next to you. So yeah, this is the beauty of what we do as an organization, as a department, and as a team. We always look for ways to make things easier. As a department, another important thing, another good thing about us is that we have a standalone team. We have a team that is trained to deliver in a way that we want them to deliver, because we want to make it simple. We don't want to make it complicated. We have a standalone department and we have a standalone team The instructors get training every year. They get all this sort of information that they need. The group of participants that we deal with. So, and also the way you need to talk word by word in between the flags, because people do take things literal. Oh, swim. But what if I want to play? Shouldn't I go between the flags? So I think things like this plays a big role. Simplicity.
That was actually mentioned at the World Conference on Drowning Prevention, the interpretation of between the flags and how it can be different depending on where you come from. And I was saying, from my perspective, coming from a background in Canada, Caribbean, etc., and other places in the world, between the flags is not worldwide.
Yes.
And for my interpretation, coming from a boating background and things like that, that almost looks like a warning flag. So when I came to New Zealand, the whole idea between the flags, I had to learn that those were actually flags that you're supposed to be around.
Yeah.
And that's from my perspective with an aquatic background. So just speaking to your point, that knowing that everybody has a different experience in other places, and you're coming and learning a new language, even if you speak the language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think things like complication in words can make a big difference into their knowledge and understanding of what the message is. So again, we always clarify. We teach them how to speak more localized.
Regardless of the technical difficulties, it's such a pleasure to have you and have this chat. And obviously, there's a whole lot more to talk about. So hopefully we're not done. But I'm going to throw it to you if there's anything else that you want to say before we finish up.
I think we covered most of the things, but I think for the work that we do, it's all passion driven, and it's all possible with people with passionate, particularly with people that we share the same path with. The aquatic centers, for example, the surf lifesaving clubs, any water related activities, the surfing, the sailing, the boating, pathways, because we share the same pathway. Let's spread love. Like let's work and collaborate together. Let's make this possible for people who are looking for things, who would love to do sailing, who would love to do surf lifesaving, but they just don't know how to. So the collaboration together, and please make it easier. It just, for them to access this opportunity, it needs to be smooth, streamlined, and much more easier. Complicated wordings, a lot of talking, it's just going to go through their heads. Just make it simple, fun, and accessible.
I agree in a perfect way to end this particular conversation. I'm going to highlight the fact that you use the word love. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, that we keep bantering all this stuff around, but at the end of the day, love and sense of caring for your community, caring for another human being, caring for each other. Terms in New Zealand of aroha, which is a Maori word for that connection. Aloha, which is a word from Hawaii for that same kind of connection. I'm sure there are other languages who have those deep words of connection. And for me, that's what the water gives us, is the opportunity for that connection. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for that.
No
And
problem.
we'll end it there for now, but hopefully again in the future. And thanks so much for your time.
No problems. Thank you very much.
Cheers.